In today's video, we will talk about the most recent adjustment Argus received on the advanced server. It has been a while, and I am sure a lot of our friends have been waiting for this. After all, a huge chunk of this channel's viewers are Argus players, or used to be Argus players before he got mishandled by the developers. As we go along the video, we want to know what you think of the adjustments, so make sure to leave a comment down below and share this video to other Argus fans. Is this buff truly a buff? Or is it actually a nerf? In addition to that, we will also provide and explain the recommended items we think suits the new Argus based on the tests we conducted with both live players and test dummies. Based on the adjustment notes, it appears the developers want Argus to rely more on critical basic attacks and deal more damage even without his ultimate being active. To make things easier for our dear friends, we separated the buffs from the nerfs and put them into two columns. As you can see, there were more buffs than nerfs applied on Argus. On paper, it looks good, but is that really the case? We decided to test it and compare both versions of Argus on the advanced and original servers. To ensure consistency on the results, we equipped both versions with the same emblem set and same set of items. Let's talk about Warmonger first, Argus' passive skill. His enhanced attack from his passive skill now has a lower base damage, but is now capable of bypassing half of the target's defense. This means that Argus is now more competent against heroes with higher physical defense such as most fighters and tanks. In addition to that, the recharge speed of his Malice Energy skills based on the type of damage Argus deals, where critical strikes grant extra recharge. The issue we noticed is that the natural recharging speed of Argus Malice Energy is a little slower in the advanced server version versus the original server version. Here is the comparison of Argus enhanced attacks. Do note that both versions do not have any items equipped. This basically means that the Argus on the advanced server is significantly weaker on the early game since they removed the 155 base damage from the enhanced basic attack. We also tested the enhanced attacks against the Layla dummy with 6 bladed armors, while both Argus versions weren't equipped with anything. And despite the 50% physical damage penetration that the advanced server version has, the Argus on the original server still dealt higher damage. What does this mean? This means that the Argus on the advanced server greatly relies on items. In other words, if you are playing as Argus and fell behind in items, it will be very challenging to regain your momentum because of his lackluster damage when played with fewer items. We tested both Argus versions on the same Layla dummies equipped with 6 bladed armors again, only this time, both Argus versions were equipped with 6 Blade of Despairs. As you saw, the version on the advanced server dealt higher damage thanks to the tremendous damage Blade of Despair provided, which was even made better by the 50% physical defense penetration. This proves that the advanced server Argus might be significantly weaker on the early game, but on the late game, this version is stronger than the original server Argus. This time, we equipped both Argus versions with a typical critical burst item set in order to test how quickly the advanced server Argus can gain Malice Energy versus the original server Argus. First, we tested both versions at level 1. As you saw, the advanced server Argus recharged his Malice Energy much faster thanks to the new mechanic that allows Argus to gain more Malice Energy when his attacks strike critically. Obviously, at level 15 the same results would be observed due to the fact that leveling up the advanced server Argus Ultimate permanently improves the recharge speed of his Malice Energy. It seems the developers want Argus to rely more on critical type items. Based on our tests, it appears that the only attack that bypasses 50% of the target's defense is the second strike from his passive skill, not the initial basic attack. Because of how his Malice Energy's charging speed is strongly affected by critical damage, it might not be advisable anymore to go with the Golden Staff Trinity build. With this new adjustment, having critical strikes will become a necessity when playing as Argus. In addition to that, since his enhanced basic attack's 155 base damage has been removed, he is less effective against opponents with lower armor, but is more effective against opponents with above average physical defense. Not sure what the developers did with Demonic Grip, Argus' first skill. We think it's pretty evident that this is not even an adjustment, but a straight-up nerf. The range of Argus' first skill's second phase was obviously shortened, but the dashing speed seems to be the same. The dashing speed did not increase at all as the patch notes claimed. And then we have Meteoric Sword, Argus' second skill. It no longer has a bleeding effect, which a lot of players, including myself, miss. While I agree that wise players would simply choose to stop moving to avoid receiving its bleeding damage, it was an interesting effect that's fun to see, especially when applied on low HP squishy heroes. The idea of making them choose between fighting you or running away always amuses me. They gave his second skill a bunch of buffs to compensate for losing the bleeding effect. It's now considered a basic attack, which means it can now take advantage of items with attack effects such as Demon Hunter Sword and even Wind Talker. Naturally, it also allows stacking items to gain 1 stack when Meteoric Sword is used. In addition to that, the animation speed of this skill now increases based on Argus' attack speed. While the curse or mark it applies on enemies allows Argus to double his Malice Energy's charging speed. As you can see, Demon Hunter Sword and Corrosion Scythe both gain 1 stack each simply by using Argus' second skill. Also, Wind Talker's unique passive's magic damage was triggered. Here we can see an obvious increase in its animation speed by simply increasing Argus' attack speed. Now, let's take a look at how quickly Argus recharges his Malice Energy when attacking a target cursed by his second skill. We have to admit, that was significantly faster than before. And finally, let's talk about Eternal Evil, his ultimate. They removed the permanent bonus physical attack he gains from leveling this skill up, and in exchange, learning this skill will permanently improve the charging speed of his Malice Energy. The higher the level of this skill is, the greater the improvement it bestows on his Malice Energy's charging speed. Overall, we think that the main goal of the adjustment is to improve Argus' ability in fighting enemies without his ultimate. Because of the improved charging of his Malice Energy, it is now easier to trigger his enhanced basic attack, especially when his critical rate and damage are high enough. The problem we are seeing here is his weaker early game and reliance on items. Since his second skill no longer deals movement-based damage, enemies who are at a disadvantage will no longer be hesitant to run away or sprint out. While it's true that Argus now gained the ability to gain Malice Energy faster, but you would only really feel its benefits during the late game or once Argus has high enough critical rate and fast enough attack speed. In addition to that, he is now less effective in taking enemies down while in ultimate form since it no longer fully recharges his Malice Energy upon activation. They also removed the effect which greatly improves his Malice Energy's regeneration speed. In order for Argus to recharge his Malice Energy quickly, you have to make sure his second skill hits his target, otherwise, it will be pretty challenging for Argus to gain Malice Energy, most especially if the opponent purchased Dominance Ice. Let's now talk about the items. In our opinion, this is one of the best, if not the best item set for Argus. Corrosion Scythe is ideally purchased early because of its well-balanced stats. It provides decent damage and helps prevent the enemies from escaping while greatly improving Argus' attack speed. Not to mention that his second skill applies 1 stack of Corrosion Scythe when activated. This means that upon his second skill's activation, Argus is capable of slowing his target's movement speed by a total of 88% thanks to the combined slowing effect of Corrosion Scythe's 1 stack and his second skill's slowing effect. Next item is Berserker's Fury. Since the attack speed you can gain from Corrosion Scythe is pretty decent, it would be a good idea to pump up his damage and also gain some critical rate, which we all agree will greatly help fill up his Malice Energy faster, thus triggering his enhanced attack. Next is House Claws so that Argus will gain HP sustain, and also another improvement to his critical rate and attack speed. At this point, Argus should be more than capable of dueling against most heroes. Top it off with the Great Dragon Spear to further pump up his critical rate and also allow Argus to gain temporary bonus movement speed upon activating his ultimate. The final item is Wind Talker. This item's magic damage gets triggered by Argus' second skill, and it is a good way of gaining higher critical rate and attack speed. Basically, the goal of this build is to take advantage of Argus' malefic energy and trigger his enhanced attack as frequently as possible. After all, his enhanced basic attack not only bypasses 50% of the target's physical defense, it also critically strikes. If needed, you can switch out Wind Talker and replace it with Sea Halberd. And yes, because of the benefits Argus gains from dealing critical damage, we do not suggest using Golden Staff at all. During the late game, once you have purchased all of his key physical damage items, you can sell Swift Boots and purchase Blade of Despair or Malefic Roar to further improve his damage output. As for the emblem configuration, you can either go with the Assassin Emblem and Rupture, Weapon Master, and then Weakness Finder. Personally, we prefer the Marksman Emblem and Swift because of how greatly Dominance Ice can slow down his attack speed. Here are some game highlights playing as Argus on the advanced server.
Yeah, but that wouldn't...
Launch attack! Slain an enemy! Shut down! They will never... You have slain an enemy!
There goes
Kill! Turret! They will never...
the shadow.
Mega kill! Ally has been slain. Ally has been slain. Our turret is under attack.
I'm afraid. There goes my mercy. But that over there. Be ready for my immortality. Oh yeah. There goes my mercy.
That concludes our Mobile Legends content for today. What do you think of the new Argus adjustment? Is it good? Bad? Or just right? Leave your thoughts on the comment section below, and if you haven't yet, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stay safe, everyone. Peace.